Welcome back to Askewed Reviews, and we do have another fan request today, and it is for the 1986 adventure, action, comedy, fantasy, Big Trouble in Little China. Here is your trivia question for today. What is the name of Jack Burton's truck? The answer will be at the end of this video. So the story starts off with Jack Burton giving a little bit of narration to any listeners on his CB radio while he's driving his truck. He's on his way back to Chinatown to make a delivery. While there, he runs into an old friend named Wang. Wang and Jack actually end up going to the airport together, as Wang is about to meet his fiancée at the airport, and Jack is there to make sure he gets his money from Wang. While at the airport, they also run into Gracie Law, who happens to be an acquaintance of Wang's and is there meeting a friend. Mao Yin, Wang's fiancée, finally shows up, and when she does, it looks like it's about to be a happy reunion. That is, until a local gang called the Lords of Death kidnap her and race off with her. Jack and Wang race after her and make it back to Chinatown. Unfortunately, though, they have to ditch the truck as they end up in the middle of a battle between two gangs, the Chang Sing and the Wing Kong. Now, throughout this adventure, Jack ends up finding out that not only is magic real, but so are monsters. And at one point, Gracie Law is also kidnapped along with Mao Yin, and both of them are now set to become the bride of an ancient sorcerer named David Lo Pan. So now it's up to Wang, Jack, and the Chang Sing to break into the fortress of Lo Pan and save the girls. The original concept for the movie was that it was going to be an old-timey western, but they decided to modernize it, including the fact that Jack actually loses his truck instead of what was going to be his horse. Kurt Russell has even stated that a lot of his characterization for Jack is based off of John Wayne. One of the best things about this film is it's a very big reversal on most classic 80s action films. In this one, the white guy is actually the one who doesn't know what he's doing and is kind of bumbling around a bit, and the minority sidekick is actually the one who really knows what he's doing. In fact, in a lot of interviews, Kurt Russell has stated that he's actually the sidekick and Wang is the true hero. For the character of Jack Burton, John Carpenter immediately wanted Kurt Russell. However, though, the studio originally suggested either Jack Nicholson or Clint Eastwood. Apparently, Jeff Bridges also had an opportunity to try out for the character as well. Kurt Russell did apparently turn down the role of Connor McLeod in the Highlander film just so he could do this one. Dennis Dunn does a great job as Wang in this film, but apparently the role was originally going to go to Jackie Chan. The only reason it didn't is because Chan's English was not that good yet. Kim Cattrall was not the studio's first choice for Gracie Law. They felt that she had done too many raunchy comedies like Porky's and Police Academy. The studio's original suggestion was that they have some female rock star play the character, but they couldn't come up with anyone specifically. And apparently, Ellen Barkin was the only other actress that tried out for the role. As I have mentioned, John Carpenter was the director for this film. Did you also happen to know, though, that the band that he was in, the Coupe de Villes, actually are the ones who sing the song at the end credits? Another little thing about John Carpenter is when the character of Lightning dies, a little streak of lightning with a Chinese character appears, and that character is actually the word Carpenter. This film is actually the fourth out of five films where John Carpenter and Kurt Russell have worked together. There was Elvis, Escape from New York, The Thing, and Escape from LA. Now, the same year that this film came out, they also put out the movie The Golden Child, which is kind of similar with Chinese mysticism. But John Carpenter was actually offered this movie as well. He actually turned that one down because he felt it was too closely related to what he was doing with Big Trouble in Little China. Did you happen to recognize Egg Chen's warehouse office? Well, you might have seen it in the Ghostbusters film, as it is the same firehouse that they use for both movies. For the big fight scene near the end of the film, they actually did not use wires for the aerial fights, but actually trampolines. When watching this film, did you ever wonder why Gracie Law was just tied up? Apparently, in the original script, there was a scene where she was arguing with the guards. However, this was actually never filmed. Kim Cattrall was a very good sport about this, as she even stated, "I've been in tighter situations than this." Whether or not you noticed how obvious this was, both Kim Cattrall and Susie Pye do actually have brown eyes and both wore green contacts for the film. The sequence where Jack and Gracie are kissing and then Jack has lipstick all over his face was actually improvised by both of the actors. The outfit that Jack wears when visiting the brothel is actually a reference to the Kurt Russell movie Used Cars, where his character would wear an outfit very similar to that. Kurt Russell's son Wyatt was actually born 8 days after the film was released, and you may recognize Wyatt Russell as he actually plays the wannabe Captain America from the Falcon and the Winter Soldier Disney Plus series. There's actually a few characters from this film that inspired some characters from a video game series. For instance, the three storms are actually a combination together that ended up creating the concept for Raiden in Mortal Kombat. And David Lopan is actually an inspiration for the character of Shang Tsung in Mortal Kombat. Speaking of video games, this movie actually did receive one way back on the Nintendo Entertainment System. There's also a tabletop board game based on the movie as well. And if you really can't get enough of Jack Burton, there's even different comics that you can read. One's based directly off the movie, some ones where it's Old Man Jack, and of course he's an older version of himself, and even some crossover ones like Big Trouble in Little China combined with Escape from New York. This film is definitely a cult classic. It wasn't the greatest movie, but it is very entertaining. Some of the acting is a bit over the top, but I still really enjoy this film, so I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. Now, as for the trivia question from the beginning of this episode, what is the name of Jack Burton's truck? It is called the Pork Chop Express. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Askewed Reviews. If there is a movie you'd like to see get a review, just mention it in the comments. And as always, like, comment, share, and subscribe.